As the moderator, I see fit to find people as we go through here because we need to raise money for Dolly the Trolley. So I'm going to turn this over to Lindsay Madison, the Executive Director of the Fort Scott Area Chamber of Commerce.
As Mark said, I'm Lindsay Madison. I am with the Fort Scott Area Chamber of Commerce. And Devin, can you make sure that mic's off down there? I think it is, but getting some feedback. Okay, it's Nick's fault. Let's blame it on Nick all night. So, okay. But I'm with the Chamber. I would also like to welcome you this evening. We have those of you here with us, and we also have those on Facebook Live. And so we're honored to offer this opportunity for you to become more educated as you prepare to vote, either in advance or on election day. And just to point out a couple of things, obviously we encourage wearing masks. We have some down at the front desk. If you do not have one, feel free to go down and get one. There's hand sanitizer. I know the chairs are a little close together as they were set up, but feel free to move those apart or sit wherever you'd like. That's a benefit of this Memorial Hall. It seats about 1,300 people, so we can spread out as much as we want, so feel free to do so throughout the evening. And at this time, I believe that's all. As the candidates come up, we also have wipes up here, right, Mark?
We have a volunteer who's wiping off.
Okay. We have some wipes up here, and we have a volunteer that will be wiping off the microphone between candidates, or if they forget to do so, nudge them, or you're welcome to do it yourself. So we appreciate all of you being here and taking part in this process. Would you all please now join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And now we have an invocation. The theme of the night is at the bottom of the page, which is the candidate forum chairman and or moderator may modify the format above as necessary. So that's kind of the theme of the night. We're inserting an invocation right now. So join us for an invocation by Greg Motley.
While you're standing, one more logistical issue. Candidates, make sure you come up the east stairway here on my left, your right. There's a cord across this side. We don't want any accidents. So let's pray. Father, we're so grateful to be your sons and daughters. And we're so grateful to live in a nation that has what we consider the best political system that's ever existed in human history. And that's why we're here tonight. And I'm so grateful for every public servant that now serves this nation, this county, this city. And we just ask your blessings on them and just illuminate their hearts and minds to your service, Father. And we're grateful for these candidates that have put themselves out there to serve us. And we just ask your blessings on them as they participate tonight. And we pray for this nation, this world, in the age of COVID. I pray for the health of the United States and the rest of the world. I pray for the mental and spiritual health as well, Father. So many isolated people feeling depressed, alone, isolated. Just pray that your touch would be on them. And I pray that you would draw us together in one spirit, Father. That we might unify for the common human good and serve you as we serve one another. I just thank you for this evening. We ask your blessings on it now in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Greg, for setting a peaceful stage for the forum tonight. We appreciate it. I would like to now recognize our volunteers this evening. We have our greeters and ushers, which are Chamber Board members, Deb McKinney, Dave Leip, and Jeff Southwell. And we have our moderator, Mark McCoy, past chairman of the board of the chamber, and our timer, Devin Talley, representing the Young Professionals League of Bourbon County, and he's also with the city, and general assistance by Greg Motley, who was our chamber board chairman last year, and so we appreciate all of our help this evening. Some remarks on behalf of County Clerk Kendall Mason. Advanced voting will begin on October 19th, and the hours for that will be Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30, and early voting will end on that at noon on that Monday, November 2nd, before the election day. Be sure to bring your ID with you when you go to vote, and on election day you will vote at your regular polling place, and the hours will be from 7 to 7. If you don't know your polling place, you may call the county clerk's office at 223-3800 extension 802. So at this time, I'd just like to thank you again for coming, and I'd like to turn it over to Mark McCoy. He's just going to make some brief remarks about the renewal of the 1% sales tax for hard surfaces that will be on the ballot.
Didn't she do a fine job? Look at that, folks. Isn't it? Yes. Vanna White, right here in Fort Scott. Is that better that I'm standing back now? Okay, great. So Bourbon County has before it a 1% countywide sales tax renewal. It's important for folks to know that this is a renewal, it's not a new tax. It's been in existence for over 19 years. The tax has been in place and is essential for the maintenance and improvement of the hard surface roads in Bourbon County. This is specifically the county, which is in excess of 140 miles. In addition to that, the other 5 cities, Bronson, Fort Scott, Fulton, Mapleton, and Redfield, 6, Uniontown, also participate in this 1% sales tax. The percentages that they spend of their budget vary. And it's critical for these smaller towns as well as for the county for this tax. Why am I saying this? I've been asked to speak on it. I'm part of a group of citizens who have come together in support of the 1% sales tax. No, I don't want to pay more tax. This tax is already in existence. I also do not want to see what would take place if this tax is not renewed in the 6 cities and in the county. So with that being said, I will just... I mentioned a little bit earlier about Dolly the Trolley, and we have a tradition here that if your phone goes off during a chamber function, you get to make a donation to Dolly the Trolley. It's $1. So I would greatly appreciate it if you would kindly either put your phone on silent or vibrate, and if you don't know how to do that, that's okay. We're happy to collect the $1 from you. It goes to a great cause. So tonight we will be starting with the U.S. House of Representatives. So I would ask those candidates for the U.S. House of Representatives to please come up on stage as I'm pointing from this side of the stage. You can take any one of the 4 seats behind me. We also have a representative here who will be making a statement for Jake LaTurner. I don't know who that... Yes, come right up, please. You're going to go first. All candidates will have a 1-minute opening statement, a series of questions asked. Typically, we will have 3 different questions asked. Yes, they are the same question asked of each of the candidates, and then a 2-minute closing. When a candidate is not here, a representative gets 3 minutes to make a statement. Also, if a candidate is unopposed, and we have a couple of positions here, they're local, where the individuals are unopposed, they will also have a 3-minute opportunity. So at this time, the representative for Jacob LaTurner is going to speak. 3 minutes. This is our timer. So, sorry, see, you got to keep her. We're going to wipe this off after every person speaking. We want to make sure we are sanitary.
Hello. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight and being involved in the political process. I'm here on behalf of Jake LaTurner. I know many of you are familiar with Jake. He currently serves as your state treasurer, and prior to that, he served as your state senator here in Fort Scott. And he is running to hopefully serve you as your next congressman of the 2nd Congressional District. Jake is a Southeast Kansas native. He was born and raised in Galena, Kansas in Cherokee County, and was raised by a single father because his mother left the family when he was 1 year old due to some addiction issues. And so it taught Jake a lot of lessons growing up, the value of hard work, perseverance, and faith in God. And then Jake moved on and went to school at Pitt State, and that's where he met his wife Suzanne, and he and Suzanne have 4 young children. And one thing I will say about Jake is he is a strong representative for Southeast Kansas and has always been willing to fight on behalf of the people of Southeast Kansas. And one of the best accomplishments he has had is making sure there were 22 infrastructure projects that got delayed in the state of Kansas, and one of them was Highway 69, extending that to 4 lanes south of Fort Scott. And because Jake was willing to lay down on the tracks and get that done, that was the only one of the 22 projects that got renewed. So, and that is currently under construction. You guys see that every single day, I'm sure. Jake is willing to go to Congress and fight on behalf of the people of Southeast Kansas, Kansas in the 2nd District. He wants to get the economy back and running from the devastation caused by COVID, and jumpstart our economy by getting small businesses growing again. And so I think you can always count on Jake to be someone who listens and is willing to hear you out and have discussions with you about the issues. I say all of that to basically say Jake will be a great congressman for you, and we'd appreciate your support. Jake has done a lot, but his top priority is he is a father, and so that's why I'm here tonight. He had an event come up with the children, so I'm here. And I just want to say to everyone here running, and to Mayor de la Isla, and to Mr. Gerard, running for office is a very noble profession, and we commend everyone, and thank everyone here for being involved in the process. Thank you very much.
So welcome, candidates. Our first question will be, turn your page here, right, Mark? Rural Kansas has experienced long-term population decline as well as an aging population. What will you do to ensure rural Kansas receives the same priorities in Congress as the more urban area of the state? Would you like to go first?
Good evening, Fort Scott. I'm Michelle de la Isla, currently the mayor of the city of Topeka. Excited to be here with all of you this evening. And the first thing that I would say is what you need to do is show up. You need to be here, you need to listen to people, and you need to work with your local communities. As the mayor of the capital city of Kansas, I can tell you that we are also dealing with population decline. And what we're noticing is that populations keep moving further and further into the larger urban areas. In order for us to do that, we need to ensure that our communities have everything they need to have a better life. Oh gosh, I forgot my words. Quality of life initiatives, that we have access to good economic development for good jobs, so that people can come here understanding that they have opportunities. Because what's beautiful about rural Kansas, you can have an amazing life and have a wonderful cost of living. So I believe that showing up, working with your economic development organizations, and working with your local government is going to be crucial.
Madam Mayor, stay right there. I made here, so it's my fault. I failed to allow each candidate to get their 1-minute opening statement. I apologize. Excuse me. Please go ahead with your 1-minute opening statement.
No worries. Well, rewinding back, my name is Michelle de la Isla. A little bit about myself is I was actually born in New York, and I was raised in Puerto Rico, but I have spent most of my life in Kansas, pretty much. It will be almost half of my life. I got here when I was 23, and now I'm 44. Kansas is home. I absolutely love Kansas. I was a single mom. I was homeless, and Kansas helped me get my degree at Wichita State University. I was able to find my voice, and my life has been in nonprofit. Habitat for Humanity, housing and credit counseling, and most recently working in Evergy. My experience is well-rounded, and as mayor, one of the cornerstones of what I've done is make sure that I keep in contact with my community. My desire is to do the same now in a larger district, and getting to know all of you better, should God grant me the privilege of being your congressperson.
Hi, my name's Robert Gerard. I'm the Libertarian Party candidate for Congress. I'm an electronics technician. I work in Olathe, live in Douglas County, about 30 miles southwest of Kansas City. I was in the Army from 86 to 91. I voted Republican for the most part. I got out of the Army and decided to start voting Libertarian. The values they have is you own your life. We all have ownership over our life, our property, and no one should initiate force to force us to behave in a certain way. You use force in self-defense against an aggressor, not to tell somebody they can't own a gun or smoke marijuana as long as they don't hurt other people. We have the best of the conservatives. We want low taxes, less government, free markets. The best part of the progressive or liberals, not so much progressive, freedom to live your personal life the way you choose. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. You want me to reread that question for you?
I think I got it about rural. Yeah. To be honest, I don't know how to stop people from moving from rural to urban. It's been going on a long time because of the mechanization of farm equipment. There's not as much labor needed. One thing I can think of that might help would be to legalize hemp. It just doesn't make any sense for the government to tell you you can't grow a plant to make rope and fabric and a lot of other products. Hemp is a good crop for Kansas, from what I've been told. I believe in free markets, so I don't want the government to help a business to encourage them to move to an urban center. I don't want to discourage businesses from staying in rural areas. Thanks.
Can you hear me if I speak like this? I've been told I yell a lot, so. The second question here is, sir, I'm going to have you answer, so we take turns here. We're rotating.
Mark, they might not be able to hear on Facebook. I'm not sure.
Okay, pardon me. My fault. Good call.
We can try the other mic.
No, I'm not using it.
Don't forget, we know who you are, that dollar person out there. Greg will be coming around to collect that.
No, Greg won't.
Okay, it's on the honor system then. We would greatly appreciate it if you would honestly, on my honor, I will do my best to God and country. All right, the question is, what do you think is the most important issue facing our nation that Congress must deal with now and in the next 3 months? Deal with now and in the next 3 months. Yes, sir.
Well, that would defeat the purpose of
We'd have to- just that I wasn't close enough to it.
We're going to test. I will just encourage people to speak up louder. Speak as loud as you can.
Is it working? Okay. The most important thing I would say is for the federal government to stop spending so much money. We're $25 trillion in debt. It seems like just a year ago we were almost $20 trillion. You can't spend your way out of a recession, and you can't cut taxes. You can't cut taxes now, borrow the money. Somebody has to pay it back later on down the road, and it's just going to go up. Interest, taxes. So that would be the number one thing.
Well, I think the number one issue that Congress has to deal with is, first of all, get rid of all the politicking and start dealing hands-on with COVID. All of us are tired of this virus. I'm tired of this mask. I'm tired of not being able to hug people when I see them. I am tired of what is going on. The American people are dealing right now with both a health and an economic crisis. We need to get our businesses back up and going, but in order for us to do that, we need to all be safe. Congress needs to figure out a way that we are going to start upping up the employments that were lost in this pandemic, as well as ensuring that we have everything that our hospitals need so that we can keep people safe in our community. So let's stop with the politicking and let's start focusing on people.
Madam Mayor, you'll be answering this question first. If I can keep my place here. Well, it's on the right page. The current pandemic has caused taxes to be much less than what was projected. How will you, in 2021, if elected, address this on a state and national level?
So one of the first things that we need to understand is that sales tax is the lifeblood of many communities. In order for us to do that, we have to support our local businesses. We need to create an aggressive campaign of supporting local businesses so that people are starting to invest and consume back into our communities. And in order for us to do that, people need to feel comfortable leaving their house, which is why it's so important for us to deal with COVID. The other thing that we need to do, President Trump actually was talking about another stimulus. And maybe we need to do that just once more so that we can start pushing the economy forward. But in order for us to just start increasing the sales tax, because the mill levy is not really going to change, but the sales tax, which is extremely important for us, we need to work with the state, and we need to figure out a way that we are taxing the sales that are happening in other states that are happening online, so that those dollars come back to the communities where they're coming to, and that will start helping us with that tax base that we're losing.
Yes. Taxes collected in 2021 are projected to be lower than what, right? What will you do to correct that?
This is a problem because both parties have been spending so much money for as long as I've been alive. You just have to say no to some things and let states take care of state business, let local government take care of local business. If people are not getting out and buying things, you're not going to have the sales tax. One place the federal government could save some money is to not have hundreds of thousands of soldiers all over the world, not get into wars that they don't intend to finish. We can have a few Air Force bases, a few Navy bases overseas to support operations for early warning and to support counterterrorism and intelligence, but we don't need what we have.
Okay, stay right there for the last question. What will you do, if elected, to make the U.S. House of Representatives more productive?
Well, when the Republicans do something right, I will vote with the Republicans. When they do something wrong, I'll vote against it. When Democrats do something right, I'll vote with them. And when they do something wrong, I'll vote against it. Honestly, I don't think Congress is going to be productive anytime soon. It hasn't been for a long time. There's a lot of change needed, which is not going to happen with the two parties in charge.
Madam Mayor?
So ever since I started this campaign, the one tenet that I hold true to is, as a mayor, I haven't met a pothole that is a Republican or a Democrat. I haven't met a sidewalk that is Republican or Democrat, and that's the same approach that I'm going to take when I'm in Congress. We have to stop this division. We're all humans made in the image of God, and we're supposed to treat each other with the dignity and the respect that we all deserve. And my job when I get to Congress to make things more productive is to build relationships. Build relationships here in our communities and understand the issues that we have in every one of our counties at the same time that I'm going to be building relationships based on what the needs are so that we can collectively start working together.
We're now at the 2-minute closing for each one of the candidates. And we started off with Madam Mayor, so this time we will start off with that 2 minutes with Mr. Gerard. 2-minute closing statement.
Obviously, I'm not a professional politician. I'm an electronics technician. I troubleshoot avionics, and before that, avionics test equipment. I'm used to working on big, complicated systems and finding the bad component out of the 1,000 or 10,000 components. One thing that Washington is doing right now is they're creating as many problems as they're solving. We need a new philosophy, and that philosophy is that adult men and women own their bodies and they own their property, and they should be allowed to trade and associate with their friends, and they should be free to live the way they choose to live as long as they're not hurting other people. One thing that I would try to do is pass either a national reciprocity bill for concealed carry. I don't need a Illinois license to drive to Illinois to visit my parents. To get a concealed carry license in Illinois, it's $300 for a non-resident, and you got to find a sheriff that is willing to sign off on it. It just doesn't make sense. You don't need a license for free speech. You don't need a license for any of the other freedoms in the Bill of Rights. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, 2-minute closing statement.
I want to start by saying, Mr. Gerard, thank you for your service to our country. I significantly appreciate that anybody that is serving is a hero to our country. Freedom is certainly not free. Well, my friends in Fort Scott, you have a beautiful community of over 14,000 people. Your industry is mostly industrial, education and health. And even though you have 14,000 plus, you matter. And you matter because you are a compendium of people. We have to go back to serving people above party, above differences. Every single morning when we wake up, we're not thinking with regards to what the parties are thinking. We're trying to make sure that we are able to have successful children, that we're able to pay our bills. I know I don't like to have handouts. None of us want to do that. We all want to get back to work. And I am committed to ensuring that through the work that I will do in Congress, my number one priority, aside from getting rid of this virus, has always been healthcare. It's healthcare. There's nothing else. Kansans are concerned. We were very close to Medicaid expansion, and it was stopped. When I get to Congress, I will make sure that the dollars that are coming to each state for Medicaid expansion are still available. That the Affordable Care Act, which is the only legislation that protects your pre-existing condition, which, by the way, was initiated in the 90s by Dole, is still happening. That you are able to live in your communities and enjoy good economic development and find yourselves proud to be Kansans. I am a proud Kansan, I am a proud American, and I will work very hard for you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here at your home.
Thank you so much. Please exit this side. Our next race that we will be speaking is Kansas District Senate 12. District Senate 12. And this time we're going to start off with a 1-minute opening statement. Right, Mr. Motley?
Amen.
Yes. I didn't realize I breathed so loud. So we'll start off, sir. Would you please take 1 minute? Did you already wipe off? Yes, it's already been wiped off. 1 minute opening statement.
Thank you for this opportunity. Can you hear me? I am Mike Bruner. I am the candidate for District 12. I am a retired school teacher who will work for a science and evidence-based approach to the COVID crisis, to support our public schools, improve our infrastructure, create a more fair tax structure, and I really do want to work for you. I also think we need to take a serious look at an increasingly toxic nature in our politics. We need more civility. I was a negotiator. I understand the value of good faith cooperation. And I am frankly sickened by some of the things I've seen, not necessarily in my campaign, but nationwide this election. We need to do better. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to wipey first. 1 minute opening statement.
Well, good evening. I think Deb has the hardest job here. She's going to get her exercise tonight. It's great to see you guys. I'm Karen Tyson. I represent the 12th Senate District. I am up for re-election, and I ask for your support. I'm a grassroots conservative, 5th generation Kansan, very proud to represent Lynn County, Southern Bourbon, Northern Miami, Allen, Anderson, and Franklin. It's a great district. I line up with the district because we're about common sense and Kansas values. And I take those values with me to Topeka. I've talked to so many of you. When I cast my votes, I'm thinking about you. When we vote on tax increases, I'm thinking, how is that going to impact my constituency here? When I'm fighting for Highway 69, 68, 169, it's for you. You sent me to Topeka to be a strong voice, and I ask for your support again because I will continue that strength and that experience in Topeka. Thank you.
Ms. Tyson, stay right there. First question, with Kansas facing a $1 billion plus deficit, would you cut spending or would you raise taxes? If you would raise taxes, what taxes would you raise?
Actually, we're looking at more than $1 billion decrease in spending. We've got to do a couple of things. One is we have to get our economy back on track. The shutdown has been devastating to Kansas. I would not cut. I would not increase your taxes. I have not signed a no new tax pledge. My pledge is to my constituents to go to Topeka to do what I can to cut wasteful spending. And you've heard me talk about this. I can give you examples of what I've done in the past to cut wasteful spending. I don't just complain about it, I get results. And thankfully, this year, I'm going to have 165 legislators working with me to help cut that spending. And I'm going to challenge, if each one of us finds a few $1 million, when we talk about travel, state travel for the states, I tried to run an amendment a few years ago that would just freeze state travel because it's at over 57, it was at $40 million at that time. If we just froze it for 1 year and did common sense solution, those are things that we can do to make the state better and stop wasteful spending, not increase taxes in a time like this.
Mr. Bruner, 1 minute. Would you like me to repeat the question?
I think I've got it.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to just tell the truth, even when it hurts. If the federal government does not come up with a stimulus package that helps with our revenue shortfall, our state will be in a world of hurt. And there are no easy solutions. We can't probably avoid it without some combination of tax increases and spending cuts. Spending cuts and things that I even care about, like education. It could happen. And if we had to, I would even have to support that. But if we had tax increases, I would want to be sure it wasn't geared toward low-income and middle-income taxpayers. We don't need any more increases in the sales tax. We need to, if anything, eliminate the sales tax on food. But we may have to do make some hard choices. And if tax increases come necessary, I would want them to be tilted toward those with higher incomes. And I'm sorry to say this, but I don't think a lot of people realize what kind of a mess that we are going in, we're facing. Thank you.
Mr. Bruner, stay right there. Next question. This is an issue that surrounds our state in many other states, or opportunity, as some people might believe. What is your stance on the legalization of marijuana in Kansas?
Oh, I've been wanting to hear that question for so long. To be honest with you, I don't really have a position. I have a pretty open mind. Now that several other states have moved in that direction, I think that we have some data that we can examine and look at. And though I wouldn't plan on necessarily being the one to introduce such of a bill, if a bill is introduced, I will be very attentive and open-minded in the hearings. And I do, by the way, support us moving into the direction of legalizing medical marijuana and also decriminalizing some possession charges, because to be honest with you, a poor kid from Fort Scott is much more likely to get in trouble for a possession charge on marijuana than the son or daughter of the most prominent citizens. I saw that in my 40 years of teaching school. There's a lot of inequity in the way we enforce our marijuana laws, and it's kind of an issue for me. Thank you.
Senator Tyson, 1 minute.
Well, thank you. Marijuana is a federal issue. We need to address it at the federal level. I'm going to take this opportunity to go back to tax. We have some of the highest taxes in the nation. We are some of the highest, we're second in the nation, highest on food. We are in the top 10 highest in sales tax when you combine local and state sales tax. We are some of the highest in the nation for property tax. Allen County has some of the highest rural property taxes in the nation. We have to deal with this. I put a big effort forward last year to deal with property tax, not lowering your taxes, but making it transparent so that you could speak during the process before your taxes increase. Our governor vetoed transparency. We cannot stand for that. We have to have a say. We are taxes with representation. It is more critical than ever. You've heard me say it. We are losing our freedoms from within. We must stand and fight for our freedoms, and that means a say in the process.
Senator, stay right there. Our next question is, Kansas sales and property taxes are some of the highest in the nation. Do you have ideas on ways to increase revenues to ease the tax burden on Kansans?
I do, and I did not know that question was coming. So some of the ideas that I have: cut the bureaucracy, cut the red tape. I'm the Rules and Regulations Chair, and some of the things that I see through, in fact, we've got somebody here that knows with the daycares, we practically put them out of business with the regulations that we're putting on them. We've got to have common sense solutions. The other thing that we can do to help stimulate the economy is a fair tax system. I have been saying this for years. We have a tax system that picks winners and losers, and that's not what government is about. We are supposed to have a system that everybody answers to the same. It doesn't pick somebody or favor one group over the other. I will continue to fight on this effort. Yes, we help those in need and those that cannot help themselves, but we do not pick government programs that hand out tax incentives to businesses that may or may not need it. We need a fair and level tax system.
I can't vouch for the property taxes, which I do think are too high, but Kansas sales tax rates are a disgrace. They are excessive. They are among the highest in the country, particularly on food. And the reason for that largely rests with the fact that we had irresponsible income tax cuts for the wealthiest during the previous governor's administration, supported very much by my opponent, I might add. We need more fair taxation. I absolutely believe that. But we cannot just cut ourselves into a balanced budget. Every dollar that the government cuts back on its spending is a dollar that's not spent in your community. It's a teacher's job that's lost, a school secretary's job that's lost, a couple county workers who are lost. These are tough issues, and they're going to have to be negotiated. They're going to have to be worked out. There's going to have to be give and take on all sides. It's the way it works. Thank you.
Mr. Bruner, stay right there. We are going to be doing our 2-minute closing now. 2-minute closing. Please go ahead, sir.
After these 1-minute jobs, 2 minutes seems like a lot of time. I want to thank the Chamber for this opportunity. my opponent for showing up, my fellow candidates for coming. I really do believe I was a negotiator for almost 30 years, and I was a pretty tough negotiator, and I could be pretty rough. But I learned that you only get a good deal if all sides work together in mutual respect and in good faith. And I do want to say that I want to make just a statement here. I'm really sick of the direction of Kansas politics, and there are some things that I can't promise. I can't promise that I'm going to be able to get more money for our schools or to get a certain tax program. That's not entirely up to me. But I can promise integrity in the way I conduct myself as a candidate or in office. I am so tired of looking at the television and looking at campaigns that my fellow candidates are in and the toxic, dark money postcards that are being sent and stuffing our mailboxes with stuff that is frankly just not true. Candidates that are editing videos and splicing and dicing and misrepresenting their opponents. And I can't do a thing about it. Senator Tyson can't do a thing about it, other than the fact that we might personally not participate in those kind of activities, but it's you as voters who have to punish candidates who abuse their position and disrespect you by not being more honest, more forthcoming. And so I realize that's kind of frank, but that's kind of the person I am. And I thank you so much. And by the way, I love Fort Scott. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll have a 2-minute closing statement from Senator Tyson.
Well, thank you to our sponsors, and thank you guys for coming out tonight. It's important to be engaged in the process. You guys know that you can count on me. I'm a person of integrity. I say what I mean, and I do what I'm going to say. I've had much success in the Kansas legislature, and I will continue that effort. Each year, I get thanked by both parties for my effort, especially on the tax committee. Both sides. We listen to ideas no matter where they come from, who they come from. If it's a good idea, we need to take it forward. I tell you, I will work hard for you. You can count on me to fight for limited government. You can count on me to fight for economic development. You can count on me to fight for traditional values. You can count on me to stand for you against this socialist creep that is coming into our nation. I will fight against this in Kansas. We cannot afford this. This is not what our foundation and our founding fathers based this country or our state on. We must always remember that we are the heirs of our forefathers' revolution, and I will fight diligently to protect our Constitution and to represent you in Topeka. I ask for your vote, and I ask for your support. Karen Tyson, 12th Senate District. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. If you want to go ahead and please go down now, thank you so much. As the moderator, I'm pulling an audible. We'll have a little in between here. Our local treasurer will be coming up to give us a 3-minute speech. So give her a chance to come up here. Again, anybody else want their phone to ring so I can collect the dollar? None of those? I hope you'll stay all the way to the end because I'm doing Yankee Doodle Dandy because I got the stage and I can see the excitement for those that want to stay up here for that. So, George M. Cohan, Yankee Doodle Dandy. Who performed that? That's right, James Cagney, Jimmy Cagney. Here we go. My Yankee Doodle Dandy. Oh, here she comes. That's thank heavens because you don't want to see me dancing. 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Patty Love. I'm your current Bourbon County Treasurer, and I'm running unopposed for re-election in November. I want to thank you all for your support. And I do always remember, I am your employee. If there's anything that me or my office can do, please give me a call, email me, come see me. Thank you.
Excellent, just made some time back. So now we will be going to Kansas Senate District 13. Will the two candidates for that position please come up? Kansas District 13. Vanna is now wiping off the microphone. I guess I'm too close to that one too. We'll start off with our 1-minute opening statement.
Thank you for to the chamber for hosting this, and thank you all for coming out. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about myself. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, Kansas. I'm a retired attorney. I have a website. I have cards there. The one thing that I will tell you tonight that no one knows, that I'm never told, is I'm a klutz. I can prove it. I'm a klutz. I fell last night. I want to talk. I thought I would have more time, and maybe I will later on, but I think one of the most important things we need to talk about is truth. Mike Pence said last week, you can have your own opinion, but you can't have your own set of facts. Now that's the truth. So I'm going to ask you all tonight, as we get up here and we talk and we tell things, fact check us. Make sure that our facts are right and tell the truth. Because if you don't hold us accountable, no one will on election day. Thank you.
Okay, we'll now have a 1-minute opening statement from Senator Hildebrand. Hopefully we won't run out of wipies, because there's no... Okay. Running low.
All right, so we're going to start. Thank you everybody for showing up tonight. I am Richard Hildebrand. I am currently District 13 State Senator. It encompasses the city of Fort Scott, south part of Bourbon County, all of Crawford County, all of Cherokee County, and Chetopa, and one small township in Labette County. I am married. My beautiful wife Marisa is here with me. To be quite honest, I couldn't do this position without her. She, other than God, she is my backbone and keeps me going. We share 4 kids and 5 grandkids. I'm ready to get this talk going, and so you guys can understand the differences between me and my opponent. And like she said, there's fact and there's fiction. Sometimes what you hear on the radio is a lot of fiction, not a lot of fact. Hopefully we'll put a lot of fact out tonight. Thank you.
Senator, stay right there. You'll get the first question. What is your stance on the legalization of marijuana in Kansas?
My stance on the legalization of marijuana in the state of Kansas is if it is recreational, I am a no-go on that. If it's medicinal, I think that you have to look at it and you have to evaluate it on, is it really a medical necessity, and is it really a doctor that is prescribing that to a patient for a medicinal purpose? It shouldn't be something that you can go in the store and buy gummy bears and take home to your house and your kids can get into it, because that's not medicinal. So it's got to be something that would be prescribed by a doctor, regulated by a doctor, and overseen by a doctor before I would agree on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ingram. She gets paid a lot.
You know, I'm sort of like one of the other candidates. I don't have a real position for or against legalized marijuana. I do know that there is a place for medical marijuana. I do also know from experience in living in another state that that's a very difficult proposition to regulate and make sure that it's being used in the right ways. In the state I lived in, California, several years ago, if you couldn't get a prescription, you couldn't find a doctor. So I think if we go down that road, we're going to end up like most states do with legalized marijuana. I will look at any bill. I will make sure any bill that comes across has to have safeguards. We have to protect our young people from being exposed to this type of possible addiction. But yes or no, I can't say. Thank you.
Go ahead and stay up there for the next question. What effort can you make at the state level to attempt to increase health care availability in southeast Kansas?
I was hoping that question would come up. The immediate thing we can do is expand Medicaid. Southeast Kansas, the 13th district, loses over loses over $11 million annually. Since 2014, the whole state has lost over $4.3 billion, not million, billion. Now, I'm not going to say that it would have kept Mercy Hospital open, but you're going to be worried about, at some point, about keeping Via Christi open here for an emergency room. And this is the way to do it. It's not truth, fact. It's not going to raise your taxes. It's not. It's money that's already been paid to the federal government. It's our money. I think of it as like an apple pie. We went together with the other states with our federal money that we meant to do, and we buy an apple pie, and then when it comes time to get our piece of it, we say no thanks. Thank you.
Senator Hildebrand, 1 minute, same question.
I believe the question was all Kansans, not just 120,000 able-bodied adults, mainly males, that are childless, to give them free health care. The analogy of the apple pie is kind of a neat analogy, but I think it's the wrong analogy being used. To put it in better perspective, factually, it's like we are going to the store, we are taking that apple pie, and we're bringing it home, and every time we go to the store, we keep taking that apple pie and expecting our grandchildren and great-grandchildren to pay for that pie that we're eating today. There is not a pot of money sitting there waiting for Medicaid expansion for Kansas to bring home. There is a $27 trillion debt that our federal government has that keeps growing every time we implement and grow government, because we are not paying taxes to expand Medicaid. We're paying taxes on other things. We are borrowing money to pay for Medicaid expansion. But what I will do is, what I did with the Senate Bill 32 this last year, is help pass a Farm Bureau health care bill that helps people that are farmers that can't get health insurance, that actually afford health insurance. Thank you.
Stay right there. Last question. Communities and businesses in Kansas have suffered greatly during the recent pandemic. What would your priorities be, if reelected, to ensure businesses are able to survive the current economical climate?
Unfortunately, there's a lot of businesses that aren't going to survive because they were forced to shut down. And the government shut them down. It wasn't COVID. It was the government said, you're going to shut down. And we shut them down in the state. I voted against it. But that was something that was done prior. And then when we had the opportunity to vote, I voted against shutting businesses down again. But we can't shut businesses down, put people out of work, when our Department of Labor cannot pay people unemployment, and we expect people that are unemployed or have lost their job or their business is shut down to still pay their taxes. If the government is going to come to you and pick winners and losers and say your business can stay open and your business has to shut down, you shouldn't make the person that you shut down pay those taxes for property taxes, things like that. You should give them a grace period and let them get back on their feet, get back open, and be productive and start providing back for their families. Thank you.
Ms. Engel, you have 1 minute to answer that question. Would you like me to reread it? Okay.
You know, I said there was a time for truth, and I think it's right now. Let's be honest, the economy in Kansas was not where it should be before the virus came around. After 8 years of Brownback's experiment on tax cuts for the wealthy and not for you, it put us in a horrible position for this virus to come in and do the rest of the job. Now, I want to tell you that my opponent, he's a good guy, but he followed the leadership of Brownback every step of the way. So if you like that kind of tax policy, then please vote for Hildebrand. If you want to look for ways to get this economy moving again, I've been there. I worked with John Carlin when he was governor. I saw how he did it, and I'll do the same thing. Thank you.
Ms. Engel, stay there for the closing. See, I'm not the only one dancing up here, so good. 2-minute closing. Thank you.
2-minute close. Okay. I want to thank the Chamber again for doing this and for you coming out and for those of you that are watching at home. I promise one thing. I will represent everyone in this district. I don't care if you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, if you're an independent, or if you don't even go to vote on November 3rd. I will be there for you. I will be there to fight for you. I don't owe anyone in Topeka. I don't owe the Democrat Party. I don't owe the governor. I don't owe any special interest or any individual. The only ones that I will owe are you, the residents of Southeast Kansas, you, the 13th District, and you in Fort Scott. Now, I say that, and I want to say I'm in contrast with my opponent. You can go to the Kansas Secretary of State's office and look at his campaign contributions. It's a long list. It was filed in January of this year. And the question isn't what lobbyists contributed to him. The better question is what one didn't contribute to him. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be fighting for you. I'll wake up every day trying to find ways to fight for you. I'm a fighter. If I wasn't a fighter, I wouldn't be here tonight. I'd be at home with an ice pack. I will fight for you, and I will respect you. Thank you very much. And by the way, it's Nancy Engel. It's Engel with an I. Thank you.
Two-minute closing, Senator Hildebrand. Comedy's always good. I like it. I thought you were very good.
Thank you for showing up, and I really enjoyed this opportunity to talk with you, and hopefully you've had the opportunity to see the difference between myself and my opponent. For someone that comes up and talks an awful lot about civility and an awful lot about truth, there's a lot of wind being blown up here and a lot less civility. If you will notice throughout the questions, I tried to answer them as straightforward as I could, did not degrade my opponent. I've not run any degradable ads on my opponent, and I won't, because that's not who I am. You can see who people are by how they run their ads. One thing I will, truth up here, I was labeled following Brownback for every step of his gubernatorialship. Well, the truth is, Brownback only served 4 months when I was a legislator. 4 months, I did not follow Brownback. So that's the truth. What I do want you to know is there is a big difference. I am not going to raise your taxes. I think we have to set at home and in Topeka, like we said at home, and when we're facing a $1.4 billion budget deficit after the state was $900 million in the black just a year ago. Now we're $1.4 billion in the hole. Put that in perspective. In 2018 to 2021, our budget increased $1.4 billion. So it is not sole responsibility of COVID. It is fiscal irresponsibility in Topeka, of which I have always voted against spending increases and spending budgets that outspend the revenue. And I will keep doing that for you. Thank you.
Thank you. That's our Kansas Senate races. We're now going to the Kansas House of Representatives for District 2. Kansas House of Representatives, District 2. You already wiped that off? Yes? Okay. Have a seat. Welcome, everybody. Ms. Lynn Grant, 1 minute opening statement.
Good evening, and thank you to the Chamber for hosting this event, and to everyone who came out to get more informed and just watching on their computers. I came to Pittsburgh for college and fell in love with not only my husband, but Southeast Kansas. I have lived in the district all my adult life. In that time, I've been active in local communities, served on various boards, and been involved in civic projects. I have 15 years in city government, having been elected to the city councils of both Cherokee and Frontenac. Now I would like to serve the people in the 2nd District as your state representative. I'm very close to this district, the people. My husband was the representative for this particular district for several years, and I learned a lot from him, and I'm ready to go.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. Ken Collins, State Representative, will now do a 1 minute opening.
Hello, I'm Ken Collins. I'm the current 2nd District State Representative, which, as far as Bourbon County goes, it's over the western area around Bronson and Uniontown. I just want to mention to Ms. Engel, don't feel bad about the klutz, because as many of you know, this last session, or not the special session, but the regular session, I hobbled around on crutches in the Capitol for quite a while. and like I said, my name is Ken Collins. I'm the current 2nd District Representative. I live in Mulberry, and I've spent 10 years total military service, 4 years active and 6 years as a reservist. And I'm a graduate of FSCC here in town and Friends University in Wichita. And as far as policy goes, I'm conservative, I'm pro-life, I'm pro-Second Amendment. Thank you. You got the stop sign there.
Stay right there. We'll give you the first question. And Same question as I asked the other group. What is your stance on the legalization of marijuana in Kansas?
Well, that's something 2 years ago, if you'd asked me that, I would have said that I was not in favor of it, but I've done a little research, talked to some people, both pro and against, and I believe that there is uses for medical marijuana, and it's happening in the states around us, so, it's going to be, people just go to Oklahoma or Missouri, and it is good for some chronic illnesses, I know. And I have a chronic illness myself that would that some people use medical marijuana for, but I'm not saying I would use it, but I do. But then, as Senator Tyson said, there's federal issues to go along with that, but I'm not opposed to medical marijuana.
Thank you. Ms. Grant?
This is a subject that's come up for many, many, many years. My thoughts, medical marijuana, I approve it. I would vote to let that happen in Kansas. I've seen experiences where that is the only thing that have gotten people through. Marijuana on its own, I'm still undecided on that. I've seen people who have started with marijuana and have gone on to bigger drugs. They say it's not a gateway drug, but I think that for some people it is. I think it needs to be studied very carefully before we approve it in Kansas, and I think we need to be aware of the federal issues with it. So, thank you.
Ms. Grant, stay right there. You're going to get the next question. What is your number one priority when it comes to the support of Kansas public education?
My priority for the support of Kansas education is to continue to fund it adequately, like we have struggled for so many years to do. Education suffered through the Brownback years, and I think that we realize that. We know that there are problems with our school systems. Right now, with COVID, it's kind of a no man's land. So I think the funding, keeping people employed, keeping our kids safe. I'm very passionate about education in Kansas, and I think that we have to be very, very careful in coming budget sessions, show that we do support it and we keep it funded. That's it.
Thank you. Representative Collins, same question.
Could you repeat the question, please?
I'm trying to find it. I'm sorry. Ratola. How's that for a statement? What is your number one priority when it comes to the support of Kansas public education?
Well, I grew up as a teacher's kid, not in Kansas, but my dad taught in Missouri. And so I know a little bit about some of the struggles that teachers go through. And as far as funding, I hate to say it, but with COVID and the cuts we're going to have to make, I think we're going to have to make cuts everywhere in all parts of government. But as far as actually improving education, sometime down the road, or we should strive for more vocational education, because not everybody wants to go to college, and there are a lot of good jobs out there that people working with their hands can get, and it's good if they get some early training on that. And And because, for instance, when I was in school, there used to be building trades class, and class would go out and build a house and they'd sell it at the end of the year. And one of the committees in Topeka, well, never mind. I'd like to tell the rest of the story, but
Stay right there. You're going to get the next question. So the last question is, what effort can you make at the state level to attempt to increase healthcare availability in Southeast Kansas?
well, it goes back to Senator Hildebrand mentioned the Farm Bureau and the type of plan that was approved by the state for them is an association health plan. And I was in the insurance committee when that came through, and there was a lot of division in that committee over the idea of the Farm Bureau plan. And the division wasn't really by parties, it was urban and rural. You know, the people of the rural districts, you know, represent farmers. You know, we thought it was a great plan. People in the urban areas, they first killed it, but then it did manage to come back because nothing in Topeka really dies. And it was, it eventually did come back. But I just think that type of a plan for other groups, people in other organizations, other professions, would really be helpful for healthcare in Kansas.
All right, thank you. Ms. Grant? What effort can you make at the state level to attempt to increase healthcare availability in Southeast Kansas?
Medicaid expansion. My opponent says it isn't right for Kansas. But I say, what is right for Kansas? Do we keep kicking the can down the road? We have 120,000 at least people who are working Kansas. They are underemployed. They have no access to wellness visits for just physical exams, a yearly exam. This isn't right. Sometimes it's hard to talk about. But when I have gotten kind of discouraged in my campaign, I said, and I think Medicaid expansion, there's so many, there's like community health. Okay.
Ms. Grant, stay right there. We're now at the 2-minute closing. 2-minute closing. So whenever you're ready, they'll start the timer. 2-minute closing statement.
Okay, I'd like to finish my thought on Medicaid expansion. Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas stands to lose usually over $1 million a year, which could be used because they don't get reimbursed for treatment. At this point now, they're looking at almost over $2 million of loss. This is the time when we have to pass this bill, keep those organizations like Community Health in business. It's a travesty that there are people out there that cannot be cared for. Anyway, thank you for being here tonight. My experiences through employment, business ownership, local government, and civic involvement provide me a good background which will enhance my service to the residents of the 2nd District. I also have a reputation for being a good listener. I've learned through my life that real listening is key to solving problems and is necessary for good governance and decision making. I want to hear your opinions. I may not always agree, but you will be heard. I want to hear your problems and help you find solutions. I would appreciate your vote on or before November 3rd, and I wish the best of luck to everyone in this room.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. Okay, our 2-minute closing statement from Representative Collins?
I'd like to thank again the Chamber for hosting this event, and thank you to everyone who came out, the candidates and people here to listen to what we have to say. And just to finish that story, back when I was in high school, most high schools had a building class where they'd go and build a house during the year and auction it off at the end of the year. And up in Topeka, in one of the committees I was on this past year, a fellow come in to talk about vocational education, and I asked him, I said, well, don't they build houses anymore? Doesn't schools build houses? And he's like, well, no, they got away from that, trying to get everybody to go to college, trying to really pushing everyone to go to college. And I'd rather, see some people go, like FSCC here has very good vocational classes, and maybe some people need to go there instead of a four-year college. But like I said, I grew up in the area. I've moved away and moved back, so I have a little bit of idea, or I really know how things work in southeast Kansas, and I know how things work in other places, and so I know I kind of know where people are coming from when they call me with an issue, or if they like something that I voted for, or if they don't like something I voted for or against. And I've really enjoyed the past couple of years as a representative, and I just hope to spend at least a couple more years doing that. Thank you.
All right, let's thank our candidates for Representative District number 2. And thank you for coming. Go ahead and carefully go down the stairs here, and then we'll be doing District number 4. Am I doing that right? Yes. Thank you. Fort Scott Community College has an excellent constructions trades program. Individuals are struggling out there to find employment, and if you ask our building tradespeople, or whether they're in the HVAC, there are plenty of jobs available, and they are well-paying jobs. Bill, you want to start with me? We'll start with our 1-minute opening statement whenever you're ready.
Good evening. Effective legislating is an art. It is the art of respectful negotiation. At the end of every successful negotiation, both sides feel like winners. Hopefully that's the way you felt the last time you negotiated to buy a car. You talked, listened, you worked out a deal. You did not engage in insults or call each other names. Once a legislator stops negotiating and starts insulting, all is lost, nothing gets done. That's the recent history of my opponent and the Kansas House of Representatives. Nothing accomplished. I know how to negotiate. If you want a legislative repeat of the last 4 years, then my opponent is your man. But if you believe Southeast Kansas has a future, vote for Bill Meyer. Thank you.
Representative Jacobs, 1-minute opening statement. Oh, yes, she has to wipe that off. Thank you, thank you. Good check. Oh, there she is. I'm sorry. That's okay.
Before I begin, I'd like to start with a quote from Thomas Jefferson. He said this: The issue today is the same as it has been throughout all history, whether man shall be allowed to govern himself or be ruled by a small elite. I am your current 4th District representative, and I thank the Lord for this opportunity to stand before you. You know me, and you know I will never compromise my principles, and I will always stand for we the people. I have kept this race clean. I have never cast false accusations. I've never asked other individuals to do my dirty work for me. I view myself, and as many others do, as a man of integrity, as a man who is willing to stand in the gap and stand for our traditional values. And again, I thank you for this opportunity to stand before you.
Representative, stay right there. You'll get the first question. Okay, our first question is, communities and businesses in Kansas have suffered greatly during the recent pandemic. What would your priorities be if re-elected to ensure businesses are able to survive the current economical climate?
Well, we have to put the issues or the blame where it is. We talk about the name game or the blame game, but if we don't find out where the leak is at, we don't identify where the cows are getting out of the field, then we'll never be able to fix the problem. It was not COVID that shut down this state. It was the governor who shut down this state, who shut down businesses, who declared that certain individuals are not prominent enough or essential enough to have their businesses open. Kansas right now has an economic record right now of $1.4 billion in debt, in budgetary debt. And they're talking about another tax increase, which Kansans cannot afford. We must get people back to work. We must learn from this situation and never shut the doors again on so-called non-essential families. Thank you.
Yes, sir. The next question is already been asked many times, but what is your stance on the legalization of marijuana in Kansas?
Oh, I thought I was doing the first question.
Oh, I'm sorry, you didn't answer it. My fault. Sorry. That's why I need correction and help here. Do I need to reread the question? I probably should now.
I knew what it was coming up here, but repeat it.
Yeah, I should. I'm sorry. Communities and businesses in Kansas have suffered greatly during the recent pandemic. What would your priorities be, if elected, to ensure businesses are able to survive the current economic climate? And I do apologize.
Well, I do disagree with my opponent. COVID is what caused what is happening in Kansas. We have suffered more casualties from COVID in the United States than we, in 10 months, than we lost in World War I, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War all put together. We have seen more Americans die in the last 10 months than died in the last year of World War II, which was the bloodiest year of the war. What we have to do is start dealing with the reality of COVID. Yes, it's going to require that we change what we do. Like, how about wearing a mask? Is it such a big deal to put a mask on? If we had worn masks, there's a good chance we would not have had to shut down our businesses like we did. Ask the people at the new grill up here who had to shut down their business because nobody there would wear a mask. Just ask them.
Bill, stay right there because you get to answer the next question.
Okay.
Now, guess which one this is? Yeah. What? Now I lost my place here. It's about marijuana. What is your stance on the legalization of marijuana in Kansas?
I believe marijuana, like cigarettes and like alcohol, should be tightly regulated and taxed. And if we tax it and regulate it, like they are doing in so many states in the country now, we'll have an economic windfall. Do I approve of using marijuana? No, I've never, well, When I was 20 years old, I smoked a joint, I'll admit. But I'm not going to condemn anybody for doing it. But it's ridiculous. Ask Sheriff Martin how many times people have to be arrested here for marijuana use, raiding a home because they had marijuana there. That's ridiculous. People are using it. Instead of punishing them, let's regulate it, control it, tax it, and make money off it as a state, because it's going to be used whether or not we regulate it, control it, and tax it. Thank you.
Thank you. Representative Jacobs, after we sanitize the microphone, the same question, which is, what is your stance on the legalization of marijuana in Kansas?
Well, my stance on legalizing marijuana, and I'll just put it like this, I'm not too high on the idea. And the reason why is because when I go to jail and I preach to individuals about the salvation of Jesus Christ, marijuana is a contributing factor of individuals who become addicted to other drugs. It is a gateway drug. It does bring in an influence and an influx of criminal intentions. It does give the open gateway to harder drugs. We would actually have to do some more funding for our police departments. There would actually need to be more lawyers. We would actually need more counselors. We would need more government because there would be more problems. So I am opposed of legalizing marijuana.
Okay, stay right there for the next question. That way we don't have to sanitize the microphone. What is your number one priority when it comes to the support of Kansas public education?
Well, my number one priority to support all education is that when it comes down to it, we the taxpayers pay money and we expect our children when we send them off to school to be educated. I would love to also see not just a one-size-fits-all curriculum. I would love to see, as it's been mentioned before, vocational schools where individuals are able to work with their hands and their minds. God has given us great gifts, and if we're just caught up in these little boxes and not able to explore the gifts that we've been given, then we're allowing ourselves to be institutionalized. I would also like to see where the money is able to follow parents. If they choose to want to put their children into a different school outside of government school, they should be allowed. We pay taxes all the time. We should have school choice.
Mr. Meyer, you want me to repeat the question? Okay.
About half our state budget is spent on public school education. That's a lot of money. Education is terribly expensive, but as a former president said, if you think education is expensive, just wait till you see what ignorance costs. The fact of the matter is, our public schools, compared to the states around us, the 8 states around us, Kansas expenditures on public education are right smack dab in the middle. We spend a little over $13,000 a year per pupil in the classroom to educate them. But that's what it's actually costing us. But what we need to do is to reach out to our schools and provide the technology that they need to operate more efficiently and effectively than they do. And in my closing statement, I'm going to address one of those things that can be done and which the state of Kansas and the federal government are already trying to do. Thank you.
Mr. Meyer, stay right there, because it's now your opportunity for that 2-minute closing statement.
Thank you. Earlier this evening, I described legislating as the art of negotiating. Negotiation begins with listening. In 2018, Mercy Hospital pleaded for passage of Medicaid expansion as a critical financial lifeline for saving the hospital. My opponent not only refused to listen and press this issue at the legislature, he didn't even return phone calls from the hospital leadership. Goodbye, hospital. Goodbye, 350 high-paying jobs. Goodbye, the oldest and largest employer in Bourbon County. So much for legislative leadership. Today, with COVID-19, we are facing the greatest health crisis of our lifetime. When our governor and public health officials spoke out in May with their regulations and mandates, Mr. Jacobs responded by labeling them communists, dictators, tyrants, the blacksmiths of shackles and chains, and issuers of royal edicts from on high. But name-calling is not a response. It is not negotiating. It is divisive and accomplishes nothing. And that's what he accomplished. A few days ago, Kansas awarded grants totaling $5.2 million for broadband internet expansion in southeast Kansas counties. Elsewhere, representatives encouraged local officials and broadband providers to jointly develop grant applications and submit them to the state. That's how Chanute got a $1.6 million grant to bring in broadband internet services to their town. But how much do you think was awarded to Bourbon County and Lynn County? Not $1. Zero. Another case of failure to lead. You could vote for more of the same, or you can vote for Bill Meyer. Thank you.
Two-minute closing, Representative Jacobs.
Again, I want to thank you all for your participation here tonight. I also want to thank those who have been keeping my family and I in prayer as we stand in the gap to defend our great nation and state heritage and our God-given liberties. For those of you who may not know who I really am, I'm currently your state representative. I've held this position for 4 years. I did not run to campaign on myths and fabricated fairy tales without any validity. My voting record explains exactly who I am. I ran and won twice for the same position as a man of God and character, a man who has stood upon biblical principles and traditional values. I'm a man who has stood on principles, a man who has stood up for the constitutional liberties. I ran on truth and integrity, and I have no need and no reason to be ashamed of who I am. I have no reason to lie and spread falsehoods. I believe in God, family, and my country. I'm 100% pro-life, 100% Second Amendment, 100% law enforcement. I believe in limited, effective government that stands for the protection of the people, not the dictatorship of the people. I believe as a state and a people, we stand at a crossroads between preserving our constitutional republic or laying down and surrendering our rights to socialism and eventually communism. I am the only candidate who will fully execute the oath of office by defending the Constitution. I am a defender of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. As James Madison once said, we have staked the whole future of our new nation not upon the power of government, far from it. We have staked the future of all our political constitutions upon the capacity of each of ourselves to govern ourselves according to the moral principles of the Ten Commandments. And as it says, let us never forget this fundamental truth that the state has no resource of money other than the money which people earn themselves. If the state wishes to spend more, it can do so only by borrowing or saving or by taxing you more. There is no such thing as public money. There is only taxpayer money. Margaret Thatcher. Thank you. My name is Trevor Jacobs, and I would appreciate your vote on November 3rd.
State representatives, let's give them a hand. Thank you, gentlemen. Be careful going down. Our next office will be the Bourbon County Commissioners. I believe there's Commissioner District 2 and 3. Are all 3 of the candidates here, or just 2? Both of them, please come up. I heard somebody else's phone go ringy-dingy or dingy-dingy or something. And again, remember, you're on the honor system. Each of you gentlemen will get a 1-minute opening statement, and then we'll go into the tough questions. Remember, there's bonus points for staying to the end tonight. Bonus points. No, you're not debating. No, you're not. But I'm simplifying because you will answer for your district and you will answer for your district. You already took care of the microphone, right, ma'am? Okay. So 1 minute opening statement. 1 minute opening statement. Jim, would you like to go first, please?
Thank you all for being here. I'm Jim Harris, running for Bourbon County Commissioner District 2, lifelong resident of Bourbon County, raised our family here. Looking forward to make a difference in the county commission. I've seen some things in the last few years I haven't agreed with. I think we need the commission to work for the people again, open our doors to the public, do not shut the doors out, and invite everyone to participate. I've had over 30 years experience within the government, working around the government. I think I can make a difference in the next 4 years or whatever to make Bourbon County a better place. Thank you.
After she wipes off the microphone, Clifton. That's pretty loud out here.
Good evening. My name is Clifton Beth, lifelong resident of Bourbon County. I have a wife, 2 kids here. My goals are simple as hopefully the next 3rd District County Commissioner. And I would point out, I'm not running against Jim, but to save health care in Bourbon County, to make sure we have an emergency room. Other than that, hopefully we can lower taxes and make it a place where my kids, Jim's grandkids can call it have a future. Thanks.
Clifton, stay right there for the first question. Again, remember, these 2 gentlemen are not running against each other, and Clifton does have an opponent, Jim does not, but the questions are still the same. First question is, how do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making of our county?
I would, couple things, simple things in my opinion. The county does have a Facebook page. I personally am not a huge Facebook person, but they do have a Facebook page. We have an excellent IT person at the county, already employed, to make that more available, hopefully, to the county and put that out there that they could ask questions that we can hopefully answer. I personally would also like to see the county commission meetings moved to later in the afternoon or evenings so that more public can attend.
Thank you. Mr. Harris, same question. Do you want me to reread it? Yeah. If elected, how would you plan to involve residents in the decision-making of our county?
Okay. That's an easy question. As I mentioned during my opening statement, we need to open up the county commissioners meeting back to the public, give the public an opportunity to hear their voices. We haven't done that lately for many, many reasons. We need to change the hours of commission meetings later in the day. People shouldn't have to take off work, come to a commission meeting. We should be there and listen to them. During my campaign, we had town hall meetings. I want to continue doing that and give the citizens an opportunity to come and visit with me as their commissioner, voice their concerns, and let them know I represent them. So it's all about transparency with the county citizens. We can make it better for them by just opening it up and getting them involved. Thank you.
Stay right there for the next question. When elected, what steps would you take to put our county on a firmer financial footing?
Well, everyone's goal is to expand our tax base, of course. That's our first goal. But we have more folks paying taxes, everyone else lower their taxes. We have to do that with economic growth. Another way is responsible spending. We have to really watch how we spend our tax dollars. We can always cut services, but that's not our goal. I think we can work together as a team and expand our growth economic development wise. And we need to make sure when the mill levy or valuations go up, don't raise the mill levy to match it. We can lower the mill levy by just watching our valuation. Our main goal is growth. Expand our businesses within our community. It will help everyone for us. New houses is growth. Improve our school system, which they're great already, but just work together to expand our tax base. Thank you.
Thank you. Clifton, would you like me to reread the question? Yes. If elected, what steps would you take to put our county on a firmer financial footing?
Economic development, there's really no different than what Jim said. We have to expand our tax base. Ask the county, we do need to probably look at our budgets, see if we can cut anywhere, try to save money. I do believe we're coming into hard times. We have a 1 cent sales tax that is out there that may or may not pass. If it doesn't, it's going to cut a big significant part of our budget. And we will have to make some tough decisions. But as Jim said, we've got to expand the tax base through economic development. Somehow there are some good ideas that's floated around, I personally think. And hopefully some of those we can put into place.
Stay right there for the last question. What plans would you like to see implemented to collect on the $2.4 million in unpaid taxes going back 8 years?
In property taxes?
Yes. Yeah, sorry.
Sure. We got to have a tax sale, plain and simple. I've had the privilege of being a commissioner now for a little bit due to the previous one leaving. We got to have that tax sale, collect what we can. There is an idea out there. Honestly, I'm not sure if I can talk about it in public. Of doing that.
Okay.
Got to have that tax sale.
All right, thank you. Jim, I'll repeat the question. What plans would you like to see implemented to collect on the $2.4 million in unpaid taxes, property taxes, going back 8 years?
Well, not knowing all the tax laws, I don't want to speak out of turn here. 8 years seems like a long, long time. I'm not sure why we're that far behind. I believe that we can do better than that. We have to have tax sales, and I know it's a lot of work preparing for a tax sale, but I don't understand why we can't have one every 2 years and get them caught up. I don't think there's any excuse why there's 8 years behind that I know of. We would just have to work better, working with the treasurer, the legal system, etc., to make sure it happens. Everyone stay on top of it and work with Patty and make sure it gets done.
Thank you. Stay right there, because now it's the opportunity for the 2-minute closing. 2-minute closing.
Well, again, I want to thank everyone who supported me during the primary. It was a tough race. I want to reach out to my opponents, the folks that voted for them, let them know I intend to represent them as well. I intend to represent all the citizens in District 2. I will be their commissioners. I want to hear their voice. I want to represent them. I've been blessed, lived here for 65 years, raised our family here, raised our sons here, raised our grandchildren here. But I think we're at a critical point. We can't do any more taxes. We have to operate more efficient, more transparency, and go back to represent the people. I have a goal. We can lower our mill levy. I was proud the commissioners did it for 21 budget, 1.5 million. I think we continue to do that. We have to have lower taxes to entice young folks to stay here and encourage businesses to come here and encourage growth. So again, I think we're at a turning point here. We have to move forward, work with the cities and the schools and everyone involved, get on top of these high taxes. If I can make it better for my family, I can make it better for your family. That's my goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Two-minute closing, Clifton.
As I said, I had the privilege of stepping into the vacant seat already as commissioner for the last 3 weeks or so. And I think with Mr. Harris has some great ideas, and like he said, the experience he has as the road and bridge director. Is that the correct thing? As the road and bridge director, I think we can do some good things for the county, and look forward to working with him, assuming I win. And I would appreciate your vote. I also would like to thank the chamber and Mr. McCoy, and I don't know the lady's name, Lindsay, everybody else involved. Again, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. Please exit same side. Our next race will be for the county sheriff. County sheriff, you're welcome. And the first question will not be, what is your position on the legalization of marijuana in Bourbon County? That was okay, wasn't it? A little levity? Anybody got a toke? Yeah, very little. Yeah, there you go. Okay, yes. Mr. Fagans, would you like to start with a 1-minute opening statement?
I'm Mike Fagans. I've got 18 years experience, started here in Fort Scott. I was on the sheriff's office 10 years. I'm currently a deputy in Lane County, Kansas, county just north. I'm running for sheriff to lower the budget, give people equal respect. I want to make working relations with other agencies, as the police department, the county commission, things like that's going rough. And I just believe that we can do a lot better in that department, and I'm the guy to do it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Sheriff, she's coming up to sanitize the microphone. You know, when you speak a little lower, it sounds a little better, right? No, okay. Sheriff, 1-minute opening statement.
Good evening, everyone. In case you don't know me, my name is Bill Martin, and I'm the current Bourbon County Sheriff. I have worked tirelessly for the last 7 years to provide the best possible law enforcement services to all citizens of Bourbon County. I reside here with my wife, Wendy. I have always taken personal responsibility for maintaining our county's safety. We have raised our family here, and we are now watching our grandchildren grow here, and we hope to retire here and spend the remainder of our lives with our friends and neighbors. I'm very proud of my 30-plus years of uninterrupted law enforcement service to the city, county, and other jurisdictions. My public and secondary education, the thousands of hours of police training, and last but not least, my military service to this great country. All my qualifications put together make me the only candidate qualified to continue to serve as the Bourbon County Sheriff.
All right, stay right there, Sheriff. The first question is, what do you consider is the most important function of your office? And you can tell the fan just kicked on, so kick it up in the volume.
The most important function of my office is to provide a service to the community. And by providing that service is by watching the money that we spend through the budgets and stuff. It is difficult to do at times. It is. My opponents in the past have said we have been overspending the budget, or my budget has increased. In the last few years, the deputies have received pay raises. The correctional officers have received pay raises. And I've also have received a $16,000 pay raise, which I declined to accept. I wanted that pay raise to be sent back to the correctional officers and the deputies who deserve it. But the most important is when somebody picks up that phone and calls and they need somebody there, there's somebody that's going to be responding. Not sit and wait until 8 o'clock in the morning for somebody to respond like it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago when I was a deputy. You pay taxes. You want that service. You want somebody there.
Thank you. Mr. Vegas, same question. Sorry here. I'm gonna wait till she stops making all that noise. I didn't realize it was so loud till you're out there. And she's doing a great job, right, folks? There you go. Mike, what do you consider is the most important function of the office of sheriff?
public service. You've got to be visible. You've got to be the deputies, the sheriff, undersheriff, has to be known in the community. We're a small community. Everybody seems to know everybody. You need to get out there, be visible, and be ready to serve them any given time. It's one of those things that my phone would be on 24 hours a day for anybody that needed to speak to me directly.
Okay, stay right there for the next question. What are you going to do to decrease the crime rate in Bourbon County if elected?
One, I'd like to start off in schools. Children are our future. You educate your children, hopefully they learn. Some don't, some screw up. I did as a kid. But you know what? I still remember the lessons. If I'm elected, I'm going to be putting special time to our children in our schools for extra learning to them. Yes, we've got a Uniontown SRO now, but it takes more than that. We need to be dedicated to our kids, to help them, be their friends, be there for them in hard times.
All right, thank you. Sheriff, I'll repeat the question after she wipes the microphone off. So when elected, what are you going to do to decrease the crime rate in Bourbon County?
As Mr. Fagan said, the kids are one of the most important people in our lives. They're our future. And yes, we do have a school resource officer out of Uniontown. It's also what we need to do is work closely with the courts and probation and parole. Get involved, get them involved, get some counseling, look for other grants, find somebody that can find those grants and start some type of a program. It is difficult every community is going to have crime. But I could say this, I believe that my office for this county, crime has increased. There has been chatter within the jail with the inmates who have talked and have said the sheriff's department has changed the county around. They're arresting people, and yes, there was questions in regards to drugs and stuff. We don't arrest on some misdemeanor drug charges like felonies, but there are misdemeanor drug charges like marijuana, but there are other circumstances that are involved that does create an arrest when that does happen. But the most important part is just to educate the community and to educate our kids that you should not choose a life of crime.
Okay, stay right there for the last question. How will you, as sheriff, going forward, hold down the budget of your department?
Hold down the budget, and that's working with the commissioners, understand or educate and train the commissioners, have those conversations with the commissioners as to the reason why we need the services for Bourbon County. You know, we can cut personnel, we can do that. We can go back when I was a deputy 15, 20 years ago. And at that time, there was only one deputy that worked nights. That was me. You'd come on at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you'd go home at midnight. And then you would have to wait for that phone to call, or wait for that phone call. And then that deputy would make that decision if they were going to go out or not. Today, as the sheriff, we've found ways through grants to hire people so that when you pick up that phone, like I said, and you call, we have a 24-hour service to respond to the needs of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fagans, we'll have the same question as soon as the microphone is taken care of. If elected, how would you hold down the budget as the sheriff of Bourbon County?
That's pretty simple. You can keep the same staff. You can cut corners where need to be cut. You cut out the excessive spending. Stop the spending where it doesn't need to be spent. I guarantee you, if I'm elected, and it's a promise, I will cut, say, $50,000 to 75, maybe even 100,000 the first year, and I'll prove it to you. It's a fact. I'll do it. You put me in there, it'll happen.
Hey, stay right there, because, oh, I did that wrong. You haven't answered the question, right? You did already. Yep, see, there's a correction. You have a 2-minute closing, 2-minute closing, and timers ready whenever he's ready.
Okay, as you can tell, I'm not a huge public speaker. I'm not perfect at it, never claimed to be. But what I am good at is my job. I have experience with budgeting. I have experience in all areas of law enforcement. Also leadership, supervision. I've got it. Now, we need more transparency with the Bourbon County Sheriff's Office. That's gone all the way. I want to restore the working relationship with surrounding agencies. That's including the Bourbon County Commissioners. I've watched some commission meetings involving our sheriff, and I'm not too fond of them. I'm not going to try to stand here and bash him, but it does not impress me. I want to see more visibility in rural areas. That's going to do many things. You're going to see the public be a lot happier with the sheriff's office. They're going to feel safer. It's also going to help be seen the criminals out there in the areas may stop them from doing what they're doing. Now, what I will bring is integrity, honesty, and experience. I will do what I can to apply for budget or apply for grants legally. I will do what I can to protect and serve each and every citizen of Bourbon County. Thank you.
I would like to take just a moment of my time in my closing this evening to thank each of you for your interest and attendance. A special thank you to the Fort Scott Area Chamber of Commerce and our moderator for this evening's event. I ask you to think about 7 years ago when I first asked for your trust and vote. I made a promise if elected to bring the Sheriff's Office in the 21st century and make Bourbon County a place for each of us to be proud of. In making that promise, I failed to realize the task I took on could not be completed overnight. However, rest assured that I have kept my promise with advancements in the department, such as a reliable vehicle fleet and a full-time SRO in Uniontown, who I might remind everyone is paid to through a federal grant legally. And we continue daily to move forward with this little steps and great strides. I have miles to go and a few more years to get there, and I cannot do it without you and your trust and your vote. I'm available to answer questions you might have regarding the operations of the Sheriff's Office or the jail. I implore you to reach out to me by phone, email, or stop by my office or home. Or if you see me in the public, please stop me. I would love to visit with you. My best wishes to all the candidates. I am certain there is no one in this room more ready for this election to be over with more than myself and my wife. Please remember to vote to re-elect Bill Martin for sheriff. Thank you again. Good night, and God bless you all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Remember to exit to stage east. Is Laura Holdridge here?
She's not able to come.
She's not able to make it. Okay, so we are down to our last office. Now's not the time to leave. Our last office is the Bourbon County Clerk. Would you please come up here? Just like everything else, we'll start off with a 1-minute opening statement. She's already cleaned the microphone. So we'll get just a second here. Laura didn't ask anybody to speak on her behalf, so we just saved 3 minutes, so thank you. All right. Ms. Mason, thank you.
I'm Kendall Mason. I'm the current Bourbon County clerk. I've worked in the clerk's office for over 15 years, 8 of those years as the Bourbon County clerk. There are many job duties of the county clerk, all of which I have years of experience. A few of the duties are budget preparation for 30 different taxing entities, calculating the July and November abstracts for valuation and taxation, calculating the motor vehicle abstract, payroll and employee benefits, including W-2s and 1099s. We sell KDWP hunting and fishing licenses. We assist taxpayers with filing with their homestead taxes. I am the Bourbon County election officer, and I'm responsible for all aspects of elections, which takes months to prepare for. I set the levy for your property taxes based on the taxing entity's budget. I am very conservative when it comes to spending and end each year with the budget carryover. I have a great staff, including 2 full-time employees and 1 part-time employee, which I can't thank enough for their hard work and commitment to the office. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Graham? Oh, she's got to clean it. Sorry. Does that so well.
Okay, I'm going to bend down. My name is Nick Graham. I wanted to thank everyone for showing up and tuning in tonight. I especially wanted to thank the Chamber for allowing me to participate because I am a write-in candidate. I am running a write-in and sticker-in campaign for Bourbon County Clerk. And the reason for that is twofold. First one is Bobby Reed. On the night of the primary, the last person I expected to hear from was Bobby, and he texted me, and in a nutshell, his message was, keep going. And together, we've worked together to build a campaign that I feel really has a shot. Secondly, the county clerk's office has a budget of just under $190,000 a year and 4 employees, and I truly feel that with my ideas and my plans and my experience that I can give you a noticeably better return on that investment of $190,000. Thank you.
Stay right there for the first question. If elected, what would you do in the first year to improve the office of county clerk?
There are several things, many of them around communication and accessibility. First thing, during the primary, we had literally over 1,000 people, and there was actually 2,000 views, looking online for primary election results. The only way to get them was the Facebook feed of a private citizen who was holding his cell phone up to a computer monitor outside of the courthouse. I would be much more engaged on social media, posting meeting minutes, meeting agendas, which we currently don't offer on the county website or the county Facebook page. Really, the communication, the clerk is the face of the county, and we should be informing the public of as much as we can and providing services like election results.
Thank you. Ms. Mason, I'll repeat the question. If elected, what services would you provide or change in the first year in office?
Well, I will continue to work as hard as I have worked for the last 15 years for this county. We do our job based on statute and laws, and I think our office is doing a great job.
Okay, stay there for the next question. What part of being the county clerk do you enjoy the most?
Wow. I enjoy the people. I enjoy talking to the voters. I enjoy numbers. I enjoy that part of my job. So it's a wide variety of jobs. Every day you do multiple things, and I like it all.
All right, thank you. Mr. Graham, if elected, what would you enjoy the most about the position?
Honestly, there's just a lot of low-hanging fruit and a lot of improvements that could be made almost overnight that would be very noticeable to the public. One example is, which wouldn't happen until around this time next year, is early voting starts here in Bourbon County on Monday. And for the last, as many years as I'm aware of, early voting in Bourbon County has only been offered Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30. Pretty hard if you've got a full-time job, a half-hour lunch break. In Lynn and Allen County, they have evening hours, they offer weekend hours for early voting, and Lynn County even takes it to the various municipalities each Saturday morning in October to allow the residents there to do early voting without having to make an extra drive. So really the thing that excites me the most is just how many noticeable, tangible improvements we could make very quickly.
All right, stay right there for the next question. And remember, I don't write these, I just attempt to read them as best as I can. What should be the qualities of a county clerk?
Really, the best quality of a county clerk should be the best quality of any public servant, willing to go above and beyond. A great example is what I just mentioned before, having a couple of evenings for early voting, going out on the weekends for early voting, making sure that on election nights you're posting results online every half hour, even every hour. It's just putting in that little extra effort. And I would say going that extra mile, but it's not even really an extra mile. It's just taking into consideration what would give people the feeling of getting the most bang for their buck for their tax dollars.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mason, same question. I turned the pages so many times here. What should the qualities of a county clerk be?
Well, I think there's many qualities that you need to have for county clerk. I think integrity is one of them, and I think experience with all the job duties that goes along with being the clerk.
All right, thank you. Stay right there because now that's 3 questions, right? We're now at our 2-minute closing, please. Thank you.
I did email Nick Graham about any candidate using stickers on ballots and my concern over the stickers jamming or ruining our election equipment. I told him of an incident where a voter put a sticker through a ballot counting machine. That sticker immediately jammed the machine and wouldn't take any more ballots. The machine had to be repaired and replaced and then re-repaired by a trained technician. I assured him if someone wrote his name in on a ballot and spelled his name anywhere close to the correct spelling, he would get credit for that write-in vote. To the taxpayers of this county, the tax money you pay will be purchasing our next voting equipment. I estimate this to cost anywhere between $60,000 and $100,000. Do you really want to risk ruining our election equipment with a sticker? If you prefer to vote for a write-in candidate, please write their name in, but please do not put a sticker on that ballot. In closing, I would like to thank the voters for the support. When you vote for any race, I encourage you to look at all the candidates' qualifications and experience and vote for the most qualified candidate. I ask for your vote on November 3rd. I would encourage everyone to vote, whether by mail or in person, to keep the voters and election workers safe. We have the same safety measures in place as we did for the primary election, including masks, sanitizers, pens with stylus for every voter, plexiglass barrier shields. We also have a new ballot drop box that's now installed that's right in front of the courthouse. It's for mailed ballots. That's compliments of the Secretary of State's office. If a voter receives a ballot in the mail and they prefer to hand deliver their ballot versus mailing it back, they can use the drop box. It's just located right outside at the entrance of the courthouse. Advanced voting does begin on October 19th at the courthouse. Bring your photo ID with you when you come to vote, and thank you for attending tonight.
All right, thank you. After that microphone is taken care of, his 2-minute closing statement plus my closing stands between you and I leaving. 2 minutes.
Again, I wanted to thank everyone who's tuning in on Facebook or who showed up tonight. This is kind of a unique campaign. We are doing ballot stickers, and as well, you can either use a sticker that we mailed out and request one or write-in. The stickers were actually manufactured by Wardcraft. The chief operations and sales manager there is 100% confident in their product, so the risk of ballot machine damage is not there. No one that I've spoken to, including past county clerks, is aware of them causing any issues in Bourbon County in the past. But I thought it was just a fun way to do a write-in campaign. Really, what I would challenge you to do, especially in regards to this race, but also in regards to any county level race, if you're friends with someone who works at the county level, either elected, non-elected, courthouse, jailhouse, speak to them privately, particularly about this race. Ask them their opinions about the county clerk's race. The best people you can get feedback from on how you should vote on county level races are from the people who work there every day. Thank you for your time. Thank you for putting up with me, even though I'm running a write-in campaign and I'm not the best public speaker, but I greatly appreciate your write-in vote or your sticker and vote on November 3rd or through early voting. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for coming tonight. Please go down. So on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, thank you so much for coming out. The Chamber works very hard for you each and every day, and this is one of the many activities that they conduct each year. It is our right as citizens to be involved in this process. I attend many county commission and city commission meetings. It's only recently that the city commission meetings have had a standing room only. We should not come out and participate only when there is an important issue for you. The reason our elected officials may not do the best job is because you and I don't hold them accountable to that job. So you have a responsibility as a voter, not only to vote, but we're a small community. And I will give you that dollar out of my pocket right now to show you that I'm, well, maybe I don't have a dollar. You know, give it a No, you're not giving me a dollar. It's here. I found it. See, Mr. Motley. Thank you, Larry. Larry Nuss, always willing to pay a dollar for me. Listen, be involved. It's our right. It's your right. It's your responsibility. I can't tell you how much more important it is. We will only succeed as Bourbon County working together. The city, the counties. We will not succeed divided. So we cannot go to meetings and yell and scream and holler. It was brought up here. Yes, there needs to be discernment. There needs to be discussion. But you and I as individuals, I recently had the opportunity to speak at the city commission meeting, and I said I entered here being friends with each and every one of you, I believe, and I will leave here. My objective here is not to be here as a Republican or a Democrat. Yes, I'm a Republican. That's irrelevant. I'm here to be fair and impartial. That's my number one objective in anything that I do here in Bourbon County. We all need to work together. So thank you very much for coming out. Those of you at home, thank you for listening. Drive home carefully and get out and vote. Thank you. Good night.